Hey guys, welcome in. It's the Sportscast brought to you by the Outspoken Network. Your hosts Brian and Craig. Craig, my man, how you been, brother?
Howdy, sir.
It has been too long, my friend.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I didn't even do a show Saturday when you weren't going to be on. I'm like, you know what? Yeah, we'll skip a week, but we got your trade deadline news. We've got your week 9 takeaways and your week 9 NFL power rankings all here on election day. I don't know if you've been keeping up with the election, Craig, and the polls and everything, but it's all pretty interesting to say
Yeah,
the
it looks like
least.
it's going to get that way. So we'll see how it turns out. It'll be interesting to see. I don't know. I don't know if we even know tonight. I don't even know if we know in a week or so. So we'll see.
Yeah, I hope hope it doesn't get all that crazy. I'm just tired. I'm just ready for it to be all over and
Yeah,
decide
definitely.
who's gonna be it. What's up, Derpy? Derpy is on the show, man. I missed you the week before. Mr. Derpy team made some moves. We're gonna get in those moves here real quick. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about Derpy. He's a Steelers fan. And the Steelers traded, they got Mike Williams from the Jets, veteran wide receiver, and they go get Preston Smith from Green Bay. We traded him away because we weren't going to pay him next year, and we got something for him. So, Derpy, let me know what you feel about your trades um, that your team made. I think Preston Smith's a decent guy to get to the quarterback. He adds, some more depth there and stick him on the other side of TJ Watt, and I think you got a real problem. So he's a decent player. And then Mike Williams, to me, I think it's just a veteran wide receiver pickup for your wide receiver group. We didn't see much from him this year because he played with the Jets, and I mean, let's be real, they haven't played all that well. But um, you got, I mean, the biggest trade of the day, I think, is the Commanders going out and getting Lattimore from the Saints. The quarterback, he is getting a little older, but he can still play. He can still play. The interesting thing with him is he last I heard he had a hamstring issue, so he's still dealing with that. Um, the Chiefs go out. I wasn't today. It was they go out and they get DeAndre Hopkins. Thanks a lot, Tennessee, for giving them a weapon as he was absolute killer last night. Catching every ball thrown to him, but last night, and then the Lions go out and get Demarius Smith from the Browns to help that pass rush. As we all know, they lost their best Hutchinson pass rusher. So, Demarius Smith, he played well in Green Bay. He thought we did him dirty, and then he went to Minnesota and battled some injuries, and now he's with Cleveland. But what does he got left in the tank? We'll see. He's a decent pickup, but I was hoping Miles Garrett would get out of Cleveland and go somewhere, but um, I don't think there's anything else I missed. I think there's a lot of little ones here or there. Um,
Yeah. I mean,
Cowboys go and get a nobody wide receiver for a fourth round pick. I'm like, I don't understand
that
what that
that
was.
that blows my mind. And I understand Ryan's take when he commented on Facebook saying it's a big body wide receiver and low income and it's for the future. But my problem is you gave up a fourth for a guy who's caught 12 passes in the last 9 games, and um, guess what you got for Amari Cooper? You got a fifth.
Yeah,
So that doesn't add up. That you gave up a fourth for a no name
the
wide
Chiefs,
receiver.
the Chiefs gave up a six for Hopkins.
Right,
I'm like,
right, and the Cowboys give up a fourth and get a seventh back in return. It just doesn't make sense what they're doing. And to make a move for that when you lose your starting quarterback and the team is in complete disarray right now, it just doesn't make any sense to make any move.
yeah,
I
and
mean, you
it's
got running backs that aren't showing up to meetings. You've got absolutely no running game. You've got a wide receiver room that's after CD Lamb college level at best. I mean, Tolbert shows up here and there. Uh, Cavante Turpin runs some good routes but can't catch the ball. It just doesn't make any sense.
Well,
To
they
me, if I'm the Cowboys, I play Trey Lance the rest of the season to see what you have, and you spend up draft picks and you spend a bunch of money to pay him, and all he's done is he hasn't even been on an active roster. So well, give Lance the reins and see what happens, and if you lose out, you lose out. I mean, at this juncture, you're not beating Philadelphia twice, Washington twice, and that's what you would have to do to make any kind of run here.
you may not beat him once. I mean, the wheels have fallen off the wagon in
Oh,
Dallas, and
absolutely. I
and
mean, you're getting some guys. It looks like Parsons will be back Sunday for the Eagles game. It looks like um, Bland will be back for the Eagles game. So you're going to sure up the defense a little bit. But I mean, you've got guys out there in Diggs. The other day he lines up. He's the only guy that can't line up. He doesn't know where he's lining up. And then when he finally does get lined up, he runs himself right into the cluster of people
you
and
know,
then throws his hands up like he's mad at Carson. Carson's like, that's not my guy. That's your guy that's running, down
wide
the
open for a
sideline.
touchdown.
Uh, you know, and it just they're not tackling. They have no pass rush.
Let
They
let
they're yelling at each other.
let's save this. Let's save this because this is one of my takeaways from Week 9, the Cowboy talk. So I don't want you to give it all away here. Um, but yeah, we'll get into it in a minute. We'll get into it in a minute because it's been interesting. Um, the Dallas Cowboys, say the least. But they were going over 105.3 The Fan though about the guy they got and how he's like 126th ranked
Oh, if
in
that.
yards of separation.
Yeah.
Like this guy's not fast. I don't know, giving up a fourth round. It was just like this is a laughable trade for Jerry Jones to say, "Hey, we got somebody.
Right.
We're not
Right.
sellers. We're buyers." It's just
Yeah.
it's terrible.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. Ravens, yeah, I missed that one. Derby said Ravens get Tre'Davious White, who was a good player. He was really good for the with the Bills. And he got traded today. I forget who he played for though. He didn't play for the Bills. They traded him away last year, I believe, or he went somewhere last year, this last off season, but I can't remember where he went. Um, all right, let's get on our Week 9 takeaways, Craig. You want to go first with that? You got a Week 9 takeaway?
Well, I just think the Lions are for real. The question mark of was the injury going to kind of dismantle what they had and take away some of the momentum, and they have two big road wins in going into Minnesota and going into Green Bay in a terrible weather condition game, and putting up 24 points, and really that game wasn't as close as the score ended. I mean, they were never in jeopardy of losing that football game. They I mean, uh, I think Goff. I don't think when they got Goff that he was supposed to be the answer. I think he was supposed to be the temporary placeholder until they got their guy that they wanted or going to replace him with. And then all of a sudden they got more from Goff than what they expected. And they're like, well, that's our guy. That's going to be our guy. We're going to pay him now. And how many halves of football has Jared Goff played and not even had an incompletion?
Insane.
He's 11 and 11. He's 12 of 12. He's 11 of 12. He's just absolutely so efficient. And I get it. They have a ton of weapons out there, and they've hit on every draft pick, and they've went and signed a great
And their
you know
their offensive
pay
coordinator is
is a
amazing.
genius,
Yeah.
who should be a head coach somewhere, but he turned down that opportunity to come back and finish what they did last year because he knew they had something special, and I just think that team is dangerous, you know, and I think that they're clearly the NFC favorite, if not the NFL favorite, you know.
Um, I agree with you about the Lions. Um, yeah, just beat my team, but it gave me. This is one of those games for Green Bay that it's kind of your measuring stick game. Where are we at? Okay, because
Right.
we know the Lions are one of the best teams of football. I had the Packers top 5 the last 2 weeks. They were number 5 in my power rankings the last 2 weeks. Um, we shot ourselves in the foot so much in that game. We didn't get blown off the field, so I feel like we battled pretty good, and we had our wide receivers could not catch the wet ball. I mean,
Right.
we had 8 drop passes left and right. Terrible. We had another boneheaded interception by Jordan Love where I'm going, "Oh my gosh." He has one of
Yeah.
those every game. Um,
Yeah.
but Lions won. They play well in Lambeau. If I'm not mistaken, they've won the last 5 games at Lambeau Field. So and they were outcoached, and it's very rare that I say that about my head coach because I love him. Matt LaFleur, he's great, but their team was more disciplined. Goff was like 15 of 15 at one point,
Right. Right.
and they're very efficient. And their offensive coordinator, I think, will be gone next year as a head coach somewhere. And the Lions are definitely for real.
Well,
Um,
and I think it hurt too. I mean, let's be honest. He's not 100% anywhere
yeah,
near 100% Jordan Love.
yeah,
And so I think if weather was different, and I think if his health was 100%, I think it's a better game.
yeah.
Um,
Well, it's
but
crazy because we had more yardage than them as a team. We
yeah,
did, but
I honestly think though Detroit just didn't show the whole. They didn't. You didn't see the things that they've been doing. You didn't see the wide receivers, reverse flea
yeah.
flicker. You didn't see the
It's
trick
probably the weather
plays. You
too.
did
That
well,
plays
and
a
a
big
hundred
factor in
percent.
that.
But what I'm saying is, I just don't think that they didn't need it. They did what they needed to do to win, and they could have shut down after the ejection of Brian Branch. They could have imploded, um,
Yeah,
but they didn't. I think that was a little bit of overkill. I don't
yeah. I
think he
don't
needed
think
to
he
be
deserved to
suspended,
be
to
rejected.
be
Yeah,
ejected.
it was
Um,
a nasty hit,
it was, and I
but
and I
I
get it,
don't think it was.
but it wasn't. I don't think he was trying to
Yeah,
debilitate the wide receiver, and everybody said, well, with his reaction, he was clearly trying to hurt the guy. No, with his reaction, it's a huge game, and he knows it's a huge game, and you eject him, and what do you expect him to do? You just be like, okay,
okay,
you know
no big deal.
yeah, I'll see you later, guys. No, he's gonna go ham, because that's what, I mean, I would do if I was removed from a game of that magnitude. I mean, um, they don't like each other. They don't. Both teams, they're not going in there and high fiving each other after the game and everything like that. So, I think the ejection was a bit of an overstep.
One of my takeaways, and these are kind of more questions than anything, but um, will the Chicago Bears let the Hail Mary loss affect the rest of their season? I mean, they have
I
that.
mean,
They have that the Hail Mary loss,
yeah,
and they go to the Cardinals, and they get blown out by 20 points, 29-9.
yeah.
They have a wide receiver middle of the
Just,
plate. You just
just, just,
walk to the
just go
bench.
stand next to the coach. Hey, I
Never seen
can't
that
throw you.
before.
I can't throw you the ball, DJ, if you're standing on the sideline, bro. Like, I can't
Like,
throw it to you out of bounds.
and I asked Paul about that. I said, "That's a really bad look. What's going on with that?" And he's like, "I think he got hurt, but I'm not sure." And I was like, "That's the team covering for him because that is terrible."
Yeah, if you got hurt, you better be laying on the ground and need trainers, not just
Not, I'm just gonna go sit on the
go sit
bench
on the
and the
bench. Yeah.
um Williams was so inconsistent.
Well, and
He's progressed a little bit. I talked to Paul about that, but at sometimes he looks lost on the field. I'm
right.
going, oh, he's not very accurate right
No.
now.
And,
Um,
and this is what I was telling you, was the speed of the game will get to him because he doesn't have the work ethic to work through it. He doesn't put in the time to learn the coverages and see what's coming at him and do what needs to be done. Talent wise, I've never said Caleb Williams is not talented enough to play in the NFL. He has absolutely the arm to make every throw. He has the ability to make every play, but he's not a leader. He's very selfish. He's very self-centered. It's all about Caleb Williams. It's always been about Caleb Williams. You know, when you retire your jersey in USC, he's like, yeah, they absolutely should have. They owe me everything. You played what 2 seasons there? They don't owe you anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's where's the arrogance coming from? You know, when he
Paul.
comes out and says, "I don't want to play for this team" or "I don't want to play for that team," I want stock options. Dude, just play football. Just do what you're supposed to do, and that's been my biggest
Yeah.
problem with Caleb Williams is, and then I think that's showing when you have wide receivers that are going off the field in the middle of the play and guys that aren't blocking for him, and he gets hit, and in every NFL game when your quarterback gets hit, you know what are the offensive linemen doing? They're going over there and picking you up. Ain't nobody picking Caleb Williams up. They're like, hey,
Yeah.
bro, get up yourself. You know,
Well, and there was all these talks in the off season about he's telling the guys we need to keep the locker room cleaner. I want to do this
right, right. That's what I'm saying.
and
It
everyone's well, they were like they're all buying into it. If this, and I'm like,
ain't
this
buying
seems like
into
it's
it
gonna
now.
seems like
Ain't buying into it now.
they'd buy into it if you're winning, right? But
Right.
you're exactly right with the whole USC thing and them hanging his jersey up in the banners, and I'm like, for what? I mean, so Paul's on here and he's talking about it. He agrees with what we're saying pretty much. I mean, he says Williams has been very inaccurate. It's very concerning. But overall, the Bears, it's the coaching, and the coaching is bad. And we've talked about that a lot with Paul, that Eberflus is not very good, and I think they'll move on from him in the offseason. But
Yeah, I would think so.
um, he said we may just ruin this quarterback as well.
I mean, and you haven't had a good history with
No,
quarterbacks
not at
and
all.
developmental deals, and I think that's your head coaching and your ownership, and it's just a snake bit organization. But I looked at the rest of their schedule, and I mean, they're not going to beat the Niners. They're not going to beat. Um,
We still got to play Green Bay twice.
they still got to play Green Bay twice. They still got to play the Lions again. They're not beating any of those teams. They might beat. Um, there was one team here in the next week or so that I thought is a maybe. Um, but and then they got Seattle. So looking at the schedule, 2 wins tops more than what they have now. They have 5 wins. They might win 7 games. Lightning in a bottle, but probably 6 or maybe even lose out and stay at 5. And so um, I think you wanted to see more of a progression from Williams by now. You know, and
For what I've seen from him so far, and I told Paul this too, is game one he looked like he didn't belong on the field
right.
to where
And like
he's
I said, you
to
started to see some,
that you saw that,
but but
but
you
when
wanted it to keep going.
yeah, when you get pressure on him, it's
No,
over.
yeah, it's over. He
He's
folds.
running around
He folds like a cheap tent.
and uh
Oh,
so and it's hard.
the
It's hard.
Patriots. That's the other that they might beat the Patriots.
Yeah, he Paul spit that while ago. Patriots.
Yeah,
um, I'm not trying to say all this to rub it in the Bears fans because I'm a Packers fan, but it's just a loss like that. The way you lost can affect the rest of the year if you allow it. Just like I
well, it
talked
would
to
have been a huge win beating a team
yeah
that looks like they might be the real deal and looks like they've accelerated the process. I mean, I expected Washington to still be a year or two away, and they're winning now.
yeah
And the way they did it with the cornerback walking down, he's over here trolling the fans
Trolling
and
the fans.
everything. And
What an
then goes,
idiot.
oh shit, I'm in the play, and then jumps up, and he's the actual one that
The
tips the
F's it
ball up
up.
to the,
Yeah.
and then he leaves the facility once he finds out he's getting, downgraded or
Yeah.
moved to second string or whatever. He leaves the facility. They're in shambles right
Yeah. And that win could have propelled their season or it could have ended their season. And I think it, the winner lost with the
now. Right.
Commanders and they lost the way they did. And I was talking to Jeff about it when the Yankees lost the way they did in game 1 when they lost to the walk-off grand slam, if that had any kind of effect. And yeah, I think it does if you can't get over that. So, um a second takeaway, Craig, you got what's the second takeaway there for week 9?
Um, the second one I got is it looks like the Buffalo Bills might be for real. We thought they stumbled a little bit after a good start. They had a couple losses, and now they've run off another bunch of wins. They beat Miami. They've owned Mike McDaniel. He's
Oh
only like
yeah.
1-6 against
One
the
is
Buffalo Bills. Um, and so you thought maybe here comes Miami with Tua back, and there was talk of Tyreek being traded. They held on to him, but the Buffalo Bills are for real, and with if I don't know what's wrong with Amari Cooper, why he didn't play this week, but with that addition to give um, him some actual, wide receivers, because we were talking about the wide receivers in Buffalo. He had nobody to throw him the ball, but with
mhm.
Amari Cooper, that helps tremendously. And they're 7-2, and they look like a contender in the AFC. I really like because we had talked about it may be time to blow it up, and maybe time to move on from everybody, and Josh Allen and the head coach, and man, they're 7-2, and they're looking like a very very strong possibility to be a 2 seed in the AFC. So um, you got to like what happens there in Buffalo. So that's impressive to have the roster they had and to kind of give up some of the pieces and still be this successful. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, they're looking good. We talked about we were 1 year early on the Josh Allen tour, and
Right,
then they didn't look too good, and we
right,
were like, wow. And now it seems like they've kind of when we thought they were going to fall apart, that
right.
they've kind of got it together. And I that's just how the NFL is, and it's kind of crazy. Um, and that's what makes the NFL so great. Um, my second takeaway, and as I told you, mine are going to be all questions, is have the Eagles found their way? They've won 4 straight games. They put up 37 points on the Bengals, which I know the Bengals aren't this amazing team, but they're I think a lot better than what's expected, or a lot better than their record says that they are. Um, they got the Cowboys this week. That should be a win with Dak Prescott being out. I'm not 100% saying that they have found their way, but they keep winning. Um, yeah, I think you could put them there. I think this. I think they're going to fight for the division if they keep winning these games. I think their offense looks better than it has. Saquon's kind of been really good. He's hurdling people backwards this last week. Absolutely insane play that was.
A video
Um,
game move.
yeah, like what in the world is that? But
Yeah,
um, let me pull up their schedule here. Um,
they've had a favorable. This was the favorable part of their schedule where you thought they could right the ship. They still got Washington. I think they still got to play Detroit.
let's see.
They got to play Dallas twice.
Which that's not nothing anymore.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
It just depends.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
it just depends. I mean, in a division game, anything can happen. I mean,
okay, they do have a pretty
they
they
still
have a
got the Niners.
pretty tough schedule. I mean, they got to play the Dallas, then they got the Commanders, they got the Rams, which aren't no pushover. They got the
Mm,
Ravens, they got
yeah,
Carolina. That's an easy win.
that's an easy
They got the Steelers. They're
win. Yeah.
50-50. Washington, Dallas, and New York. So
So they don't play the 49ers,
they
or
don't play the
Detroit.
49ers, which they usually always play the 49ers. Um,
That's interesting.
I'm not 100% saying they're there, but I think they've done better than when we thought that
It
the
wasn't.
coaching
It's not the
staff
full
have.
implosion that we thought
Yeah,
it was going to be with the first couple weeks. We thought
yeah.
they had completely lost the locker room. I still think Sirianni probably gets fired. I could be wrong.
I,
But the
you hope he
addition
doesn't
of
because he's such a fool, but
yeah,
for your team's sake,
the addition of Saquon Barkley. Listen, Saquon Barkley was going to do this with whoever he signed with. Saquon Barkley said, "You don't want me in New York. I'm going to go sign with somebody." And I believe it was going to be always somebody in the East, so he could stick it to them twice a year, because they basically told him he was washed up, and he is running with the purpose. He's out here hurdling people backwards. He's out here making video game moves. He's had 100 yards almost every game. He's running with just, I mean, he's running through people. He's not running around people. He's not juking people. He's just putting his arm down and just running through people. And the wide receivers again are starting to get healthy. They
hmm.
get Goddard back.
Oh, that catch that Smith made in the end zone last week. I
Right,
don't know if you saw it,
right.
one
Yeah,
handed. Oh,
yeah.
beautiful, beautiful.
They're making some plays, and I mean, unless Dallas can just do something miraculous, I mean, Saquon always gives them fits. He's always gave him fits when he played with the Giants, even when the Giants didn't give him fits. Saquon still got his
Saquon.
yards, and Saquon still got his deal. So I fully believe Saquon's going to have a huge game Sunday afternoon. Um, and again, Hurts, the running quarterback, gives Dallas fits. He's always gave him fits because of the mobility, deal. Just like, you know, the guy in Baltimore did, and anybody who has any kind of mobility is given Dallas fits. They can't stay in their lane. They can't, you know, protect the deal. They have no pass rush. Um, so it'll be interesting to see if they can ruin the Eagles, ruin a couple people's seasons
Yeah.
here down the stretch.
Well, speaking of Dallas, this is my next one, and let's just jump into it. So 2 weeks ago, um, I asked a question about panic meter in Dallas. Last week, I asked about is their season over, and this week, I'm telling you, it's not a question anymore. Their season is done with. They're 3-5. Dak's 4 games on the IR. You lose your starting quarterback. Um, you better hope, and my gosh, you better hope Cooper Rush doesn't come in and start winning games because then people are really going to start looking at Dak Prescott going, this guy, this bum can't win when Cooper Rush can win.
Well, and it's a little bit of an unfair statement because you do get Parsons back, you do get Bland back, and
Well, I'm
so
saying
if
like
if the
on the
defense only
offensive
lets
side of the
up,
ball.
well, yeah, but if the defense only lets up 10 points and you score 17 and you win, it's not because of Cooper Rush. It's
Yeah,
because the
but
defense didn't give up 40, and that's what you got to look at how they win.
I got you.
Now if Cooper
But
Rush goes and hangs 40 on people with the same
I mean
offense, then
yeah.
that's a problem. But
Well, we've seen. I mean, we've seen Parsons and Lawrence and all them healthy at the beginning of the year, and they still didn't look
Right,
all. I mean,
right. But
it hasn't been
what I'm saying is, if
that
he goes
amazing.
out and puts up 500 yards and 40 points with the
It's a
same
it's a big
broken
problem.
pieces, then yes, that could be a problem. But I think part of the problem with Dak Prescott is he knows the situation. He knows the contract he got. He knows what people say. He hears what people say, and he's put all the pressure on himself, and he's put too much on himself. Rather than last year, he didn't have a contract. He didn't have anything. He just went out and played free and played open and should have won the MVP in the National Football League last year. And so now you have the big contract, you have people under a microscope, you have the team that you know has no running game. We've talked about all the things, and he's just trying to do too much. He's making throws like the other day. The other day, prime example is Jalen Tolbert is running a wheel route and running wide open down the
Missed
sideline,
him.
going, "I'm here."
Yeah.
And Prescott never even looked in that direction and takes the sack. Granted, he doesn't have a lot of time with that offensive line that didn't work. You know, they put 3 new pieces in there, and
Not
it
good.
has not worked at all. You got guys missing. I mean, the tight end Ferguson he's supposed to chip the guy and then slide out in the flat. They had a wide open screen set up, and Ferguson completely misses the guy, and Prescott's got to throw it, and it gets blocked at the line of scrimmage. We're running fake punts like we think we're the Lions, and those are unacceptable.
Yeah, your wide receiver falls down on
You
that
know,
play. You're like, what in the world?
well, and it doesn't fall down. They basically mugged him because on a punt deal, the gunner can't be called pass interference. So you can mug him and get away with it, and there's no call. It's just a loophole in the rule. If you would have ran the offense out there and that same play happened, that's pass interference.
Yeah.
But because it's the
You
gunner on
might
the
as
punt,
well just do that. I mean,
right?
you know,
And that was my point. If you were going to go for it there, why not leave
yes.
Prescott on the field? And I mean, why is Brian Anger out here throwing the football? It's
Yeah.
not,
Yeah.
and you just look at some of the decision making, and you realize, and I don't know, maybe this is tongue in cheek, but he's making it sound like no matter what happens here, and you know what, the Prescott injury might just be what saves McCarthy's job. If you look at it and go, well, I lost my starting quarterback. What did you
Now look,
want?
that is how I don't know how you knew where I was going with that, but Ryan Sims texted me today and he said, does McCarthy get a pass this season?
100%. 100%.
And I say no.
Well, I would hope not, because the product on the field with your starting quarterback, they've quit on that guy. They've absolutely lost the locker room. But
I
I'm telling you that they've asked Jerry Jones, and Jerry Jones is like, I don't have any problem with McCarthy. Are you
yeah.
watching the same game that we're watching?
Jerry Jones is saying that to save face. At
I
the end of
hope
the
so.
day,
I hope so.
I
But
don't give him. We're week 9 in. We've seen
right,
it. We've seen what Dak has looked like. We've seen what this offense has looked like. We've seen what this team has looked like, and it's been in shambles. I'm not giving McCarthy.
absolute disarray.
I'm not giving McCarthy any benefit of the doubt. I told Ryan. I said, look, I don't give anybody a pass for injuries unless it's your starting quarterback, because that'll end your season. But we've seen 9 weeks of what we've have with what you
Right,
got, and
right.
it's the wheels are falling off. You said it earlier. You got running backs missing meetings, not showing up, causing the point where the team is like, "Hey, we're gonna
Hey,
suspend you.
we're
Don't even
just
come to
stay
Atlanta.
home. Just
Stay
stay home.
home." You don't know who your running back is during each week. You
Nope.
haven't given one guy a chance to really kind of plant his feet and get
And
going.
the original guy has shown a little bit of uh life. He had 75 yards in the Atlanta game, but
And here's the most asinine part of this, Greg. Okay. It's like Jerry Jones has said, okay, we paid Dak, we paid Lamb. Now they're gonna have to win with nothing.
right,
You gotta take it all on your shoulders and you better win because I'm not gonna help you out. Anyway, I mean, they have done nothing. Their offensive line is bad. I brought up that question mark in the beginning of the season. I didn't think their offensive line
turnstile.
it's bad. They have no running back. And I know running backs aren't that important in this league, but if you
Uh,
got zero
they're
running
they're
game,
they're they're important to be to enough that you have to at least
yes,
threaten.
you
You
have to
have
be,
to
yeah,
have an NFL player back there that's threatened, that they're not just going, those 4 guys that are on the line of scrimmage. Yeah, that's enough for that guy in the
yeah,
backfield. We'll take care of that. We're gonna put a dime defense. We're gonna put a safety over the top of your best wide receiver. I don't care about the other. I don't care about your tight end. I don't care about your other 3 wide receivers. I don't care. They're
They
college at best. Nobody's going to beat us. There's
they
not a
have
team that walks in that is scared of the Dallas Cowboys.
they have
Nobody.
done nothing for Dak Prescott this year. Nothing to help him out.
The play calling is vanilla at best. We're 3rd and 9 and we're running a screen pass. What
Yeah.
are you getting that from the Waffle House menu? Where are you getting that? What play sheet do you have?
So I'm not gonna get on here and tear Dak Prescott a new one, even though he hasn't played all that great.
No, he hasn't. But
But the
I don't.
team has
I mean,
not
when you got a
done him any
jailbreak coming
favors.
at you on every play, you've got one read. If the first read's not open, guess what? You either got to run or you're taking it in the ear hole.
And why is my question to Dak is he's not ran at all this year. It's like he almost refuses
This
to
was the
run.
first game,
Yeah, he actually ran. I'm like,
and he actually ran, and then he pulled a
use your
hamstring.
legs. Yeah, then he pulls hamstring. So it is all disarray in Dallas, and um, I'm not a Cowboy fan, so I'm loving it. I'm loving the drama and the Jerry but it's just mind blowing that other teams, they'll pay their quarterback or they'll pay this guy, but they go out and they do trades and they do something to help him
Right.
out. And it's like Jerry Jones says, you want this big contract? You better be able to overcome all these deficiencies because at the end of the day, I'm not spending any more money. And now they're gonna have to pay Parsons.
Yeah.
Well, you're gonna have three guys. I think next year they said Dak and CD alone take up 46% of the cap.
Right.
His contract that everyone's mad about, Dak's doesn't take in effect until next season. So
Right.
it's absolutely
They're gonna
asinine.
have to restructure it all. They're gonna have to give these guys signing bonuses and kick cans down the road and restructure and they're the master of that. The Stephen Jones is the master of flipping. He puts these switches in the contract and they flip them every year and push the money out and they should have done that originally. That's what Kansas City did with Mahomes. They gave him the $100 million or whatever, but they gave it to him over the extended period of time and
Hmm.
backloaded it to the back of the contract. Well, they'll never get to the back of the contract. They'll restructure it long before it ever gets to the part where he's making $40 million a year. They're not going to pay him, that money. They're just pushing it down the road. He'll get it, but he'll get it in different ways, and that's what the Dallas Cowboys have been horrible at because they don't get these guys when they should. They wait till the last minute
Yep.
and they wait till deadline hour, and then they're over the barrel. The player and the agent have them over the barrel, and they have no choice but to pay. If they would have paid him a year ago or 2 years ago, like they should have, then the top money to make him the highest paid quarterback was nothing compared to what it is now. You let 3 more guys get paid, and now you got to pay him 60 million. Well, that doesn't make sense. When you could have had him
Yep.
2 years ago for half of
And you
that, and
probably could have afforded Derrick Henry this
and
year,
and absolutely,
and you could have done this,
and
and
and and
and
if you're not going and paying Trey Lance's 5th-year option at $15 million, whatever Trey Lance is making, and all he's doing is holding the cleat. He's not even active. He's not even on the active roster, and you're paying him $10 or $12 million. That's $10 or $12 million you could have gave Henry. You could have gave anybody that is a sufficient running back in the NFL. But no, you want to make a homecoming and let Zeke retire, and then Zeke's return for you is not showing up to meetings and giving you the bird and saying, I'm basically done. They said he may never play another game in Dallas. They're that upset with him that there's more to this meeting situation than just missing a meeting. This was that the meeting was just the straw that broke the camel's back. I guess he's late all the time.
yeah.
He's not engaged. He's not following any kind of team rules. He just does what he wants to do. And I, it might be the end of Ezekiel Elliott in Dallas. Um, my my third takeaway here is what in the world has happened in New Orleans. That team started like a house of fire, and had 34 possessions in a row where they scored touchdowns, and people thought, the New Orleans Saints might be for real. And all of a sudden, they haven't won another game, and they fire their head coach,
Lost 7
and
straight.
houses are on fire, and pets' heads are falling off, and
Derek
it
Carr
is
got
a
the same
dumpster
coach fired. He got
twice.
twice.
Yeah, good job, Derek. First quarterback in NFL history to lose to all 31 teams. Good job.
Good job.
Um,
History made there.
you got guys talking about guys walking on the sidelines. You got a lineman who was just walking past the locker room. He's like, I'm going to the truck. He's like, I'm just not even going in there. And Derek Carr's got to run and go get him.
Michael Thomas is
Mike
throwing
Thomas
Derek
is
Carr.
throwing under the bus that he's getting his wide receivers killed because Chris Olave almost dies on the field. Because
What has
he hangs them
happened?
out to dry.
What has happened? There needs to be a study done on what the hell's happened to Michael Thomas. Where's this guy been? Where is this
He
guy
got
at?
hurt in New Orleans about 5 years ago with a
I
hamstring.
never seen him.
And
Haven't seen him
fell
since.
off the map.
Haven't seen him
He
since.
Christopher Columbus right off the side of the square Earth. Flat Earth syndrome.
Now he's wanting to fight his quarterback. It's whew, it's insane.
Yeah. What could have been a huge NFL star, and he's just disappeared off the planet.
Disappeared. There needs to be a fire sale. They trade away Lattimore. I'm surprised. Kamara.
There was talk about trading Alvin Kamara, and then they extended him. They worked the deal out. He had asked for a trade, and then all of a sudden they worked out an extension with him.
They don't got no direction. They don't got a coach. No. They don't know. Derek Carr's obviously not going to be the answer there.
Nope, apparently not. You thought he might be at the way it started, but
the way it started, Ryan Sims told me this year that the Saints would have 10+ wins and win the division. And after they started, I was like, holy moly, he might be right. Well, that ended quickly.
Yeah.
All right, Craig. Well, I don't got any more takeaways. You got any more takeaways from week 9 before we get into our power rankings?
No, I think that's pretty well covered.
Much it. Power rankings. Let's go 5-1 here. I got the Commanders at number 5. They just keep winning. Even when they almost lose to the Bears, they found a way to win. The Bears pulled a bear and ended up losing the game. They're a good football team. They went and made a move, an aggressive move. It says, hey, Jerry Jones, look, this is what all in looks like. I think they probably end up winning the division. And who would have thought that this year?
I think they're a clear-cut favorite with the way the other teams are looking. I don't think Philadelphia has anything for them, and Dallas and the Giants definitely don't have anything.
No, the Giants are absolute trash.
That guy might be getting fired next because apparently if you lose to the Carolina Panthers, you get fired.
They get fired.
Yeah. So Carolina, could you imagine? That's the game in Germany. The Carolina Panthers and the New York Giants.
That's
if I'm the NFL. I'm embarrassed to take that country and show
that is
off.
Terrible. Danny Dimes. What was a weird stat? They said that like the last time Danny Dimes threw 2 touchdowns and
they said J-Lo and Ben Affleck got married and divorced in between the time that he threw 2 touchdowns.
Insane. In your home state, like, wow. That's insane to me. Absolute trash. But I got the Commanders at 5. Craig, what do you have number 5?
Same thing. They've looked really good, and 7-2. If you'd have told me that Washington was going to be 7-2, I'd have laughed. Like I said, I still thought they were a year or 2 out. I got a guy that I bowl with. He's a big Washington Commanders fan, and he, how do you think they're going to do? How do you think they're going to do? I said, I think you got the right guy. I think you made a good choice at quarterback, but I think he's very raw, and he's going to need a season or 2 of putting the work in, and I think you're a couple years away. But hey, I think you're going to get there. And he's arrived on the scene and a whole lot faster. I mean, he basically did the same thing as the guy in Houston. He's jumped he's accelerated the process very quickly.
Well, they better hope he doesn't have the sophomore slump like Stroud in Houston because that
Right.
team has not
That team
looked
does
all that
not look
great.
great.
But
Yeah.
and I think we got to point out one thing here is Cliff Kingsbury's got to maybe one of those guys that it's not a great head coach, but
But he's a hell of an offensive
he's an
coordinator.
offensive
Yeah.
coordinator, and he works really well with with Jaden Daniels. So
Right.
kudos to him too. Um, Number 4, I got the Baltimore Ravens. They handled business, dominated the Denver Broncos, and you know I'd have to give it to him, Derrick Henry. Um, I didn't think he had much left in the tank, but
Neither did I, and neither did the team that gave up on him. And uh the Ravens got. I don't think if you'd have asked Baltimore what they thought they were getting, I don't think it's this. I think they
yeah,
expected him to be good. I think they lucked into this, and I think that they hit a gold mine in getting Derrick Henry for what they're paying him. So
100%.
yeah. But I have the same thing. I have the Ravens at 4.
And they
Not a Lamar Jackson fan, but
neither am I, but he finds a way
he finds a way to just do
right now.
enough to not screw it up and be a bus driver and drive it down the road into winning football games.
We'll see in the playoffs, but
Right.
right
Well,
now
they
they're
lost that
good
game.
team.
They lost that game to Cleveland, and so you looked at that and went, hold
Oh,
on.
here we go. Yeah.
Jameis Winston beat you, and not only beat you but beat you pretty good, and so
I mean,
so
they hung 40 on the Denver Broncos. I was like,
right,
okay, all right,
right,
well,
and
good
Denver's
defense
a
in
pretty good
Denver.
defense, so yeah.
And they go out and they made a trade today. They go out and get Devarius White out of the quarterback room,
Right.
and I was disappointed that Green Bay didn't go out and make a move. I go, okay, you're clearly in a tight race for the division. You just lost to the Lions. Let's go out and make a move, and we didn't. And it didn't shock me. I'm just a little annoyed that we didn't go out and get anybody. But that's for another time. Number 3, and we might have this. We might have the same
We
kind
might
of.
go all the way.
Number 3, I got the Buffalo Bills.
Okay, I think we're just gonna match it up.
Right in order. Buffalo Bills find a way to win. They own the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah.
They've looked really good. Um, Josh Allen just taking the team on his back. His defense has played better. They're good. They're a good football team.
Yep. I totally agree. I couldn't. Like I said, it was a good division test, and they went in and they handled them well and owned Miami, and I think they're going to win that division running away.
Yep.
Um,
Um, Number 2, I got the Kansas City Chiefs. They are 9-0. They keep finding ways to win football games. Um,
they're 8
if
0, but
my bad, 8-0. If Tampa would have gone for 2, they might not have won that game last night. But they left their balls at home or something. I don't know why you don't go for 2 there at the end of the game on the road
right.
in Kansas City. Um, and it comes down to a coin flip, and Baker already knew, son of a
Yeah.
gun, that they
Yeah.
lost the coin flip.
Yeah. Yeah.
Chiefs are 9-0 or 8-0.
But you have questionable things in that football game. You have Patrick Mahomes running, nobody around him, jams what looks like his ankle or his leg or knee into the turf, can't even walk back to the sidelines, and then miraculously plays the rest of the game. And I just don't know. They've done enough to win, and they've looked okay, but it seems like they're always getting some kind of benefit of a call or some kind of guy falling down on defense. They
It's
just
a luck. It's just this
there's just
something.
I mean,
Hmm.
I could show you that there ain't no, but I can also show you a path. In every game, there's something that they could have been 4-4, or could have been 5-3. And I understand that they're not, and I understand
Yeah.
you have to play the game. But I mean, just like last night, clearly the guard pulls out early on a play.
Oh yeah.
He pulls out early,
They don't
and
call on a
no
penalty.
flag. And that play has been called and whistled a million times. And a couple weeks ago, he's running down the sideline. and the cornerback pulls up, because if you hit Patrick Mahomes, even though he's still in bounds and you blast him, it was
Uh-huh.
going to be a penalty. And then he sneaks around him and runs for another 17 yards, and they go, well, wait a minute, he pulled up. Like, what do you want us to do? And so
I'm telling the team to blast him
it's
next time. I'll take the 50
right,
yards.
right. I'll
Just
take the 15.
what?
Unload.
Yeah.
He's inbounds. I'll fight that to
Make
get
it
him back.
count. Make it
Right, right.
count.
But it just, I get it. I get it. They're 8-0, but to me, on paper, if you're actually watching the games, there's something right there that they can be beat either in the playoffs or I definitely think the Lions would give them a run for their money in the Super Bowl.
And I'm guessing that's bless you. I'm guessing that's who you have at number one is the
Yeah,
Lions, as do I. And in this team, um, just well coached. They play great on all three aspects of the football game.
right.
Their quarterback is the most efficient quarterback in the NFL right now,
To
and
me, he's the MVP. I don't know if he'll win it, but to me, he's the
yeah,
MVP.
he should. I think a lot of them are leaning towards Lamar Jackson again, but um, and it's he's not the flashy guy that's going to throw
No,
for 400
no,
yards
he's
and
not.
have the big numbers, but he's a
Right,
guy that's taking care of the football.
right,
He does does what's needed to win.
right.
They've got a 1-2 punch in
Gets you up and
Montgomery
down the
and
field.
Gibbs. Yeah,
Yeah, Sonic
he
and Tails over there.
and it's really been interesting to watch. I'm not a Lions fan. We remember Barry Sanders and all that in the back of the day,
Right.
and the Lions have been really, really bad. And it's good to see them
Well, I mean,
win some, but
the whole Matt Millen thing, he dismantled that franchise for years. He set that franchise
yeah.
years and years and years back. Um,
And last year when Green Bay was out of the playoffs, I was rooting for Detroit. I said, all
right.
right, they
And
it's a
I
feel
think
good
they
story.
absolutely picked up right where they left off last year.
100%.
And um,
They are the one of the best coach teams in football, and I really think honestly, if Ben Johnson leaves that team and goes somewhere else, I don't think the Lions are as good as they are right now.
we'll find out.
I do like
We'll
Dan
find
Campbell.
out.
Yeah. I do like Dan Campbell though. Um, but
I
next
think
year I
they
think
play hard. I think they play hard, but man, that offensive scheme they got right now, they're
yeah.
having a lot of fun playing football right now in Detroit.
The way the GM has come in, I don't even know who he is, his name, but he's come in, turned his franchise around,
Yeah.
pulling up Dan Campbell. A lot of people laughed at it as he's talking about
Yeah.
biting
Oh yeah,
kneecaps off.
biting kneecaps off, and yeah, the press conference was played. They're still playing it.
Yeah. You got a
But
guy
it, if you
that
saw the interview, um, he was just emotional in this interview Sunday.
yeah,
He loves that football team. He
yeah,
feels like if they lose, he feels like he let them down.
yeah. He yeah, and that's the kind of guy I want to play for. I mean, that guy, you got a coach that you're willing to run through a wall for, with a scheme that is amazing, with a great talented team that your GM put together. The Lions are firing on all
Right.
cylinders, and it sucks for me because they're in my division. So,
Well, you hit on
so
all the years of not doing well. You use that to your advantage and hit on every draft pick, and then on the ones that the positions that you were still a little shaky on, they go get Singletary or is it Devin Singletary? No, the guy they got
what
from
position?
Chicago, Montgomery. They go
Yeah,
get Montgomery, and then
yeah,
they draft Gibbs to go with him, and then they still got the kid who's had a little bit of trouble with this. It's a weird deal with the
Williams.
suspension, and then during the suspension he gets pulled over and he has got a gun in the car, and he's had some problems. You hope that he's just young and trying to figure it out, because he's a hell of a wide receiver and he runs like the wind. But yeah, Detroit is on all cylinders.
And they go another team. Hey, we're fighting for a playoff race. We're fighting for a division. Let me go out and get somebody to
Right.
replace
to replace
and
Aiden Hutchinson.
that's why I'm so
And when he comes
frustrated.
back, we'll just move him to the other side, and we'll have a
Yep.
double deal and beat that.
And that's why I'm frustrated with the Packers is we're all in. We've got to win. We got to win now, and we
And you
didn't
give
do
somebody
anything.
up.
We didn't do anything. I'm like, come on, man. But I digress. Um, yeah, the trade deadline. There's more moves than I thought was going to happen today, and um, would you? I mean, I think we all agree Lattimore is the biggest move. Commanders.
I would think so. I mean, the you know the Tre'Davious White thing was pretty solid at the deadline. You expected the 49ers to kind of do something. It was a little shocking that they didn't with everything that they have. Like it looks like they're permanently like they've lost some wide receivers. That for them not to go get a weapon here or there. I guess they think with the return of their star running back that they'll be okay. But a little shocking they didn't do anything. Um, the Chiefs go. The rich keep getting richer. Somehow get Hopkins for a sixth.
And
I
he
mean,
balled out. I watched the
oh
first part of
yeah,
the game. I'm
you
like,
knew he
oh
was
my
going to.
gosh, dude,
You
this
knew he was
is
going to.
it's and I'm like, why do teams keep trading with these fools? It just hey, let me go out and give Patrick Mahomes another weapon.
Yeah,
What the hell are you doing?
yeah,
What?
yeah. The rich just keep getting richer. It's just like the Dodgers. Let's just keep giving them people.
Yeah, we haven't really talked about the baseball playoffs and the World Series. I hate that the Dodgers won it.
Yeah, so did I. The Yankees had one job and they failed miserably.
And I'm not a
Um,
Yankee fan, and obviously,
Neither am I, but
I
I'm
know,
damn sure a Yankee fan over a Dodger fan.
and I feel like I told Jeff, I said, look, Jeff's obviously, if you watch the show, Jeff's a Yankees fan, and said Yankees haven't been there in a while. Um,
Well, they had a 5-0 lead. I'm thinking, shut it down. We're going back to LA, and they just that was the worst defensive inning I've ever seen in my life. I mean, that
it
was little
was.
league. That was little league.
I was
A
watching it.
fly
I said,
ball,
oh,
fly ball to the Gold Glove center fielder, he drops it. A ground ball to the shortstop, he spikes it in the
it
ground.
spikes in the ground.
A pitcher who
Cole,
doesn't cover first
what
base
was he
just square.
thinking?
He was going back to the dugout.
And he's
I guess he
pointing
thought.
like,
I guess he
what?
thought that
Speedy Gonzalez was at
over
first
there was just
because
going to run as fast. He's a big white guy. He's not running that fast. Calm down there, Cole.
yeah,
And I understand Cole had fallen off to the side of the mound. It would have been a long run, but at least make an attempt.
yeah. And if he beats it out, he beats it out. But you were
Right.
just like,
You just were like, yeah, you got it, huh?
well, you look at game one where, well, I think it was game one where Um, Yankees really should have won that game. They had a throwing error that allowed Ohtani to go to third
Right.
base.
Right.
A deep drive to left field. He catches it. Well, Ohtani scores on that play, ends up tying the game. They go to extra innings and it's over. And I'm just like, oh, you can't do that too many times in the World
And
Series
they
and
were
walk
talking.
away.
They interviewed Dave Roberts and Mookie Betts, and they said we knew their defense was atrocious. We basically when we scouted them, we knew that we could take bases on their defense, and we exploited it. And basically, Dave Roberts said the 5-0 lead was the best thing that ever happened. People get panicked. He said, but I basically could play with house money at that point in time. I didn't. I could use all my bullets. I didn't have to, you know, put pat, and basically they said that they were inches away from having to use Otani because the guy in the bullpen was his elbow was all barking, and they almost had to put Otani on the mound if they weren't gonna
Crazy.
if there'd have been two more games, they said they might have had to put Otani on the mound because their arms were in the bullpens were so blown out.
Crazy. Yeah, I just feel like the Dodgers bought the World Series and it wasn't
Oh, that's why I
something
didn't
that.
want him to win. I wanted
Mhm.
Dave Roberts to get fired because you had a $1.7 billion payroll, and I wanted him to fail with that payroll. And But I mean, it is what it is. And now they're talking about being in on Blake Snell and being in on Soto. Where? How?
How?
How? Soto's going to have $400 million. How are you in
Well,
on him? They're like,
are they
we'll
getting
just
rid of Garrett
defer it down
Cole?
the road.
They getting rid of Cole?
Who? The Yankees?
Yeah.
No, they re-signed him. He opted out, and they give him an extension for 4 years for $144 million. He's staying right there.
Evaldi opted out of his, but we're hoping to sign him back, and I think we got to
He's
sign him back
gone.
for the Rangers.
He's gone.
But I don't think we're going to pally up the money for him. But
No, yeah, he's gone.
well, before we end this, I'm looking at the polling right now. Interesting stuff. Wisconsin is leaning red right now. So Pennsylvania, we talked about that before the show. They were leaning blue. Now they're leaning red. Minnesota's going to go to Trump. He's 61% to 36%. New Mexico right now is leaning blue. Arizona was leaning blue. Now Trump's taking a little bit of lead there, and so interesting. If you guys are interested in the polls, I know we don't talk about politics and all that stuff on the show, but it's polling day and it's a presidential race. It's always something that's interesting that affects everybody in this nation. So, but I digress. You caught any deer yet, Craig?
Well, you don't catch them. You don't
Well,
put them in a
okay. Have you
bag.
shot and killed any deer yet?
No, I have not. Should be going here in the next week or two to go try to deal. It's rifle season now. It's much harder with a bow. You got to get a whole lot closer. They know you're there, type deal. So there we got a couple trips in the work here in the next couple weeks. Um, with my brother and then with Brad from work. I'm gonna go up with him one weekend and go up to his land that he's got. And, we'll see. And then I had another guy that came in today that Brad Aswell, who runs the container deals, like, I got plenty of land and I need help shooting doe. Well, I have plenty of freezer space.
I got plenty of guns. Yeah.
So he said, I'll call you in a couple weeks when I get back from vacation. I said, here's my number. So we'll see. So yeah, it looks like there'll be some more. We have till January, so looks like there'll be some opportunities to do that, and just looking forward to that. Work's been busy. Um, I've changed to the later shift, so I get to sleep. I've gotten more sleep in the last 2 days than I've had in a
That's
month.
nice. Yeah.
People are like, "Hey, you look different." Well, yeah, that's called more than 4 hours of sleep in a week. And not getting up at midnight.
That'll do it. That'll definitely do it.
So,
all right, guys. Well, that's gonna be the show. It's been a interesting day of trades and our week 9 takeaways, and hopefully we'll wake up tomorrow and find out who the president's gonna be, and hopefully it didn't take a week to drag us out.
right.
But all right, guys. Well, God bless, and remember,
Keep it outspoken.
all right, cool.